Oh, I need me a sip of coffee. That is some good shit. So due to a more recent influx of comments that are relating to whether or not Bree and I are in fact together, I thought I would clear that up and then tell you guys the story of how that all came to be. For those of you that constantly ask, yes, Bree and I are together. We have been dating for like a year and 4 months now. And yes, we are living together. Those of you that commented on the apartment tour and said, oh, there's only one bed. Are they dating? What's that all about? Yes, we are in fact living together as well. And you know what? I may as well get this out of the way while I'm at it. No, we're not gay. No, I am not gay. I'm actually bi, but it's not the point. It doesn't really relate to the story. I also get a lot of people asking me how we met, how this all came to be, how we started dating. Well, the answer to how we met is actually a lot more interesting than you would think. I had just done a lot of voice acting for the channel Crafted Movie, for their, I believe it was ban appeal court videos. And for whatever reason, Bree had actually watched both of them, and after the second one, kind of realized that I sounded a lot like someone she had heard before. I think it was the narrator that did a really messed up Adventure Time fanfiction. It might be that guy called Duke or something like that. I can't quite remember his name. But I sounded a lot like him with some of the voices that I did, so she thought I was the one that did that fanfiction reading. Turns out it wasn't me, of course, but she didn't know that, so she ended up sending me a message on YouTube that just said, I love you, 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 over and over and over again. Signed, Cool Dude. And then after that, I sent a message back. Again, this was back when YouTube had, like, messaging that people used all the time. I mean, it's still there, but no one uses it. We had a little bit of correspondence back and forth. I said, hey, would you mind if I added you on Skype? Blah, blah, blah. And we started talking. And that friendship started out kind of slow, just chugging along, whatever. We recorded every now and then. And then we met up together at PAX, ate some dinner, had a good old time, and that's where things slowly started to develop a little bit further. We got to know each other a little bit more, you know, yada yada yada, the standard shit. And by this point, I was in calls with Bree that would last like 8 to 12 hours on average. We were just always on Skype together, whether it was just us two or a couple more people in a call at once. And this had happened just before I went down to visit Colorado for the first time. And well, you all know about one of the nights that I came down to visit. You all know about that. I had decided at around PAX 2014, I think it was, that I wanted to move down and we wanted to do more stuff together. We wanted to collaborate all the time. You know, we had liked each other at that point. We were good enough friends at that point to where I said, hey, what if I moved down and we did stuff all the time together? And she said, you know what? Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that. So I moved down, spent some time in the family house, as a matter of fact. I lived in the basement. I did pay rent. I wasn't going to mooch off of the family or anything like that. Luckily, they didn't dislike me too much. I mean, I'm a bit of a weirdo, but so are they. So they took to me real well. I think I had mentioned in maybe a few commentaries back this problem that I had, I think, around Christmas time, 2014. The end of 2014, I had begun to get incredibly, just unbearably depressed. And it was because I started, a few months before that, before I'd even moved down, I had started to develop some feelings for Bree that I thought were completely wrong and I kind of detested myself for. Now, it's totally normal to say like, hey, this person I've known for a while, they're starting to become more of an interest. You know, the friend zone does not exist unless you make sure that it exists for you so you have a reason to complain about it. The reason I felt it was inappropriate was because they really started to amplify after I moved into her house with her family. So naturally, I wanted to suppress them as much as possible, which caused some more stress. And it made me very depressed and grumpy all the time, so I would hide away in the basement quite often. And at the time, it kind of freaked Bree out a little bit, kind of made her stop talking to me for a little while. It was just an awkward situation all around. So I confided in Asmo how I felt, what was going on. I told him the truth. I was like, yeah, I'm starting to feel some pretty strong feelings here. And he comforted me as best he could. And around Christmas time, I eventually came to terms with, I was like, you know what, it's fine, doesn't have to happen, doesn't need to happen, I can go back to feeling normal now. I finally beat it out of myself. I was like, you know what, it's time to go back to living life, it's time to go back to being me. Rather than being the recluse that would sit in the basement and hide away from everybody, I decided to start appearing more often. I started to feel a lot better and sort of realize, or sort of convince myself that it's never going to happen, so I should just deal with it. And then one night, I had a few drinks. I was a little bit buzzed, not super drunk or, falling all around the room, but it was enough to sort of make me more relaxed and comfortable rather than all anxious and crazy. Asmo actually told Bree how I was feeling for real. So she knew about it, and as anybody would, at first it kind of, made her uneasy, like, oh, well, he's living in my house and he likes me and all that fun stuff. And she got it out of me. She got me to come clean to her. And then at that point, that evening, she sort of said, hey, you know what? You have the green light. Okay, I'm giving you a green light to try what you want to do what you want to do, and then we'll see how this works. And so we were both heading to bed at that point. She said, you know what, we'll talk in the morning a little bit more. And I was kind of in a panic at that point. I was like, holy shit, did that actually just come out? And then the following morning, we spoke about it a little bit more, talked about the kind of things we would want or wanted out of a relationship, and we gave it a go. And of course, Jeff was actually visiting the entire time this was going on, so poor Jeff kind of had to deal with it without really knowing about it at first, us being a little bit more close, so to speak. But Jeff ain't no idiot. He knew, and when we finally came clean to him while we were out at lunch one day, all he had to say was, it's about time. And as with any new relationship, there was a little bit of panic that had set in because I ended up moving back home for a little while to make some money and then come back down just so we'd have a little bit of distance since it was a new thing. And it actually almost ended about a week into it happening. But us being the stubborn people that we are, we said, you know what? Failure can go fuck itself. Well, there you have it. The abridged version of how Bree and I met and how we are where we are today. And for this one, I know there's going to be a bunch of questions you may or may not have. Just ask them in the comments and I will respond to them. But with that, we have come to the end of today's video. So always remember, if you even somewhat enjoyed the video, consider dropping a like, and if you really liked the video, then consider subscribing. And until the next time I find some goofy story from my past that I for some reason feel the need to tell you about, I'll be seeing ya.